The Voyager 2 probe is now in a space between the stars after exiting the sun's protective bubble, which is called the heliosphere.
For over 4 decades, Voyager 2 has cruised through the void, a relic of human ambition and curiosity, transmitting data back to Earth across billions of kilometers. When the final batch of images was received from the spacecraft, they carried with them an eerie and profound weight. Photographs unlike any captured before, revealing a view of our universe that felt both alien and deeply familiar. These images were not merely scientific data points, they were echoes from the edge of human reach, perspectives from a machine that had traversed the boundary between solar system and interstellar space. What Voyager 2 sent back in those last frames was unexpected, haunting, and nothing short of shocking. Before we start, hit the like and subscribe buttons for more exclusive news. The final photos emerged from the spacecraft's dwindling energy reserves. As its systems began to shut down one by one, engineers had allocated enough power to sustain the imaging system for just a short window, a last glance backward and outward capturing scenes that no spacecraft had ever witnessed firsthand. In this fading moment of function, Voyager 2 aimed its camera not at the planets it had passed long ago, but at the vastness it now called home, the space between the stars. What appeared in the images was not the pristine black emptiness so often imagined, but instead a textured darkness, filled with irregular blotches, faint glows, and subtle distortions. One of the most startling features of these images was a strange shimmer that appeared repeatedly across the edges of several frames. These weren't artifacts or glitches, they were cross-verified with multiple sensors. The shimmer danced like waves under moonlight, a phenomenon seemingly impossible in the vacuum of interstellar space. The working theory points toward charged particle clouds, remnants of ancient supernova, interacting with the heliopause, the boundary Voyager 2 had long since crossed. The spacecraft may have, for the first time, visually captured the effects of cosmic rays bouncing against the magnetic bubble once defined by the sun's influence. The visual result was a kind of cosmic mist, a gauze of motion and energy so faint that only Voyager 2's unique position could reveal it. More puzzling was a faint structure that appeared in the background of several shots, something resembling a filament, not a physical strand, but a faint web-like line stretching across an arc of stars. At first glance, this seemed implausible, a trick of light perhaps, but it appeared consistently in overlapping frames. After weeks of analysis, researchers suggested that this might be the first visual hint of interstellar magnetic field lines made visible by charged particles fluorescing along their paths. Essentially, Voyager 2 might have taken the first direct images of the galactic magnetic framework, the invisible skeleton that shapes the movement of matter in the galaxy. It was as though the spacecraft had stumbled into a hidden current within the ocean of space, a revelation that forced scientists to reconsider how interstellar navigation and galactic evolution are understood. Beyond the scientific revelations, the images carried an emotional gravity that surprised even seasoned astrophysicists. One photograph in particular was both minimal and devastating. A simple scattering of stars, most too faint to be named, framed by a thin crescent of light that many believe to be a far-off nebula, captured purely by accident. The loneliness of that frame, billions of miles from Earth, utterly removed from any known planetary system, communicated the profound isolation of the spacecraft itself. Voyager 2 was not just photographing the cosmos, it was transmitting a message of solitude, the visual representation of a machine drifting alone through a realm where even starlight takes years to reach its destination. Among the images was one that defied immediate explanation, a patch of near-total darkness interrupted by a single point of brightness that changed subtly from frame to frame. The point did not correspond to any cataloged star or known object. Some hypothesized it could be a distant quasar, its light warped and redirected through gravitational lensing. Others entertained more speculative ideas, from distant rogue planets reflecting light to entirely new categories of celestial phenomena. The mystery remains unresolved, and perhaps that is its power. It reminds us that space is not merely a canvas to be understood, but a living environment with secrets that remain stubbornly hidden. The implications of these final photos extend far beyond academic circles. For one, they challenge the assumptions held about the clarity of space. Instead of black nothingness punctuated by stars, Voyager 2 revealed a dynamic environment filled with low-energy interactions, magnetic distortions, and a fabric that appears anything but empty. It supports the growing view that interstellar space is an active, albeit subtle, ecosystem of physics, an ocean with tides, currents, and shifting pressures, all invisible until now. This redefinition changes how humanity must approach future missions beyond the heliosphere. New probes will require shielding not only from radiation, but also from the more complex web of electromagnetic forces now known to pervade the interstellar medium. The presence of those strange filaments also raises questions about cosmic connectivity. If these magnetic lines stretch across star systems and guide the motion of particles and energy, then perhaps space travel, in the distant future, could harness them. Theoretical propulsion systems that rely on interacting with magnetic fields might one day find anchorage in these structures. Voyager 2's photos, in their final breath, may have pointed toward the blueprint of future galactic travel. Another profound implication lies in the change of perspective. For decades, astronomers have relied on telescopes based on Earth or in orbit around Earth. These provide immense detail, but always from the same vantage point. Voyager 2, being light hours away, offered a rare parallax, a different angle from which to view known stars and structures. This change in viewpoint has enabled a reassessment of distances and alignments, even helping recalibrate the positioning of certain deep space objects. It's as though humanity, through Voyager 2, moved a few inches back from a canvas we'd been pressed against, allowing the broader shape of the painting to come into focus. Voyager 2's last photos were not just data, they were echoes. Each image held within it a timestamp of distance and time, representing not only where the spacecraft was, but when it had been there. Light captured in the photos may have begun its journey millions of years ago, only to be intercepted by this tiny ambassador of Earth. There is a temporal element to these images that speaks of patience and persistence. The spacecraft, built in the analog age using 1970s technology and magnetic tape storage, managed to outlast generations of computers and transmit its final message at the edge of silence. In several frames, particularly those taken toward the galactic plane, there was a curious soft haze, unlike any previous planetary images. This wasn't dust or interference. It was the glow of distant stars blurred by a phenomenon scientists believe may be interstellar diffraction. It's possible that Voyager 2 had begun capturing the very faint outlines of galactic structures, a kind of prelude to extragalactic photography. If this is true, then even with its limited equipment, Voyager 2 offered a glimpse of what deep space telescopes, placed beyond the solar wind and Earth's interference, might one day routinely image. The edge of our solar system, it seems, offers a uniquely quiet window into the broader galaxy, a potential staging ground for humanity's future observatories. There was an unmistakable poeticism in how the photos seemed to darken frame by frame, a slow fade that matched the spacecraft's descent into permanent silence. As systems shut down, the images grew dimmer, not because of light loss, but because of power restrictions that reduced the camera's exposure capabilities. The final frames were grainy and nearly monochrome, yet their lack of detail added a haunting layer. It was as if the spacecraft itself was blinking slowly, closing its eyes on the universe it had explored for so long. Of particular note was a photo that, by some twist of fate, captured the faint reflection of sunlight off particles just past the solar system's edge. This echo glow, as some called it, was light from the sun that had traveled outward, scattered, and returned, a ghostly halo surrounding nothing. It wasn't beautiful in the traditional sense, but its existence was profound, proof that even at such distances, the sun's touch lingers, however faintly. It symbolized how far human influence has reached, how a spacecraft no larger than a car carried the essence of our star farther than any other man-made object. The cumulative effect of these photos is a reframing of humanity's place in the cosmos. They are not just scientific achievements or pretty pictures from space. They are meditations on distance, time, and persistence. They show a solar system that fades gently into something larger and stranger, a galaxy teeming with invisible patterns and subtle forces. Voyager 2 has helped demystify some of these while preserving others as tantalizing enigmas. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, could you leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on Voyager 2's final photos? What do you expect they reveal? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.